This is AutoNation All Access.
I'm a Buff. Everyone knows that. So I spend most of my young life in Colorado. So I welcome the chance to come back to this great community. It raised me. It's a great place to live. It's a great place to raise a family. So I'm excited about that.
Welcome back to AutoNation All Access. We welcome in Charles Johnson, former CU quarterback and teammate of the new Broncos head coach. And when you hear that he's the first former Buff to be a head coach in the NFL, I mean, you got to like the sounds of that, huh?
It sounds great, and it couldn't have happened to a better, more prepared guy.
Yeah. When you played with Vance, you were a friend, you were a teammate. Did you ever sense that he had the aptitude to go on to be a head coach at the highest level?
Absolutely.
Really?
Vance was he was a young man beyond his years as a football guy, but even beyond that as a leader. Vance was a freshman my senior year, and so he was my backup. He was the backup to the backup, and he was always in my hip pocket, always asking questions, but always making sure that the conditions were right for me whenever I had an opportunity to play to do well.
Aren't freshmen supposed to be seen and not heard? Isn't that the line?
That's right. He was more seen than heard, but when he said something, it was right on.
So he spent most of his career as a backup quarterback at Colorado. Of course, the guy he's replacing, Gary Kubiak, was a backup quarterback. You were a backup quarterback. Right. Is there something about being on the sideline, being in the hip pocket of whether it's your offensive coordinator or your head coach that kind of helps maybe this process along?
I think so. You know, there's something, you talk about being a backup quarterback. It's a challenge because you have to be prepared to play without any knowledge as to whether or not you will play. And so it's a different kind of preparation. If you're the first string guy, you're getting all the reps, you know exactly what the conditions are going to be. For a backup, you have to be mentally prepared and sharp and obviously physically ready if your number's called.
You spoke about the leadership skills he displayed even as a freshman at Colorado, but I got to think being a leader is kind of a learned skill, something you learn over time. And my suspicion is that he learned a lot from a guy we know really well, Coach Bill McCartney. How much of the leadership skills that he has now do you think stemmed from Coach Mack?
Oh, you just nailed it. And I think not just VJ, but so many of the guys that Coach Mack,
Barnett.
That's right. You're exactly right. But a lot. You know, when you hear VJ, I listened to him, so proud of him in that during that press conference the other day. You could hear undertones and echoes of Bill McCartney in his voice and in his message. He touched so many of us, but Vance is truly a leader. That 93 CU football team, that senior class, some say was a little bit troubled. Vance owned that senior class. He pulled it together, and that's where he really kind of showed his wares as a leader.
A story a lot of people don't know, and I'm not even sure if it's true, so I'm going to ask you about it, was when Vance came to CU, I think it came down between Colorado and Nebraska, Colorado's most heated rival. And actually, Vance's older brother, Mickey, was a starting quarterback at Nebraska. Now, the story goes that when Vance asked Mickey what he should do, Mickey, the quarterback at Nebraska, said, "Vance, go to Colorado." Well, I'm a senior, I think, in 1990. I road tripped to Lincoln for that game, and I have this photograph that I'm going to show Charles now. We drew on our bus and all kinds of crazy sayings. One of them was, Mickey says, "Vance, go to Colorado." So is that true, or is that urban legend?
I think the statute of limitations are up, so Mick is in danger no longer. Absolutely true. Mick,
absolutely true.
And I knew Mick personally because he was a fraternity brother of mine. So we were close even before Vance decided to come to Colorado, and so that's true. True story.
True story. All right, so John Elway surrounded Vance with what looks to be a pretty good staff. Mike McCoy, the offensive coordinator. They brought in Bill Musgrave as the quarterback coach. What's the most impactful move, the hiring of those guys or the loss of Wade Phillips?
I think the hiring of those guys. Mike McCoy, a guy who's familiar with the environment here in Denver with the Broncos, having been the offensive coordinator before. Bill Musgrave, I mean, wow, you had two guys, both of whom would have been outstanding offensive coordinators, both actually interviewed for the job. Vance was able to get both of them. Mike McCoy as the OC and Bill Musgrave as the quarterback's coach. I think this coaching staff is rounding out to be a great one.
I can't not ask you about the Buffs really quickly. Is the rise sustainable?
The rise is real. Facilities, players, recruiting classes, coaches, stables, coaching situation is stable. The rise is really.
It was great to see.
You too,
hey,
buddy.
Charles, thanks for coming in. We appreciate your time.
My pleasure, man.
All right.
Coming up, you play ball like a girl just became a compliment.
I really didn't think it was going to get this big.
We'll show you how one play turned Fran Belibi's world upside down and rewrote the Colorado basketball record book. next on Auto Nation All Access.